Okay, I guess we'll start right here. But this is Awkward Occurrence, Awkward Entertainment. We're going to be just looking into this Chick Fil A and Salvation Army thing, and probably a couple other news topics. Chick Fil A is masking or making major changes to its charitable foundations, and then donations to two organizations that have been criticized for being LGBTQ. The fast food chain announced Monday that at the beginning of next year, it will only donate to a certain group of charities. That list no longer includes Salvation Army and Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Both organizations have taken controversial stands on homosexuality and same-sex marriage. In 2008, the Chick-fil-A Foundation donated $1.65 million to FCA and 115,000 to Salvation Army, the company revealed Monday. The FCA writes in its employment application that neither heterosexual outside of marriage nor any homosexual act constitutes an alternative lifestyle acceptable to God. Let's read that over there again. So the FCA writes, which is that football school or athletic school, Christian athletic school, that neither heterosexual sex outside of marriage nor any homosexual act constitute an alternative lifestyle accessible to God. Or any homosexual act. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. So I could word it better than that. That makes sense. It also states on its website that marriage is exclusively the union of one man and one woman. SCA did not respond to CNN for business requests or comments. The Salvation Army has said in the past that the Bible forbids sexual intimacy between members of the same sex, that gay Christians should embrace celibacy, and that Scripture does not support same-sex marriages, according to Snopes. You know, Snopes. People got questions about Snopes now, because Snopes is ran by Facebook. That's what they're saying. It's ran by Facebook. So them themselves might be putting out not so accurate information. However, the Salvation Army says its services are allowed to be available to all people, and the organization strongly refutes accusations that it is anti-LGBTQ. Yeah, but I guess who said they was anti-LGBTQ though? Well, advocates, I guess. Was saddened to learn that a corporate partner has felt it is necessary to divert funding to other hunger, education, and homeless organizations. Areas in which the Salvation Army is the largest social service provider in the world is already fully committed. That's what the Salvation Army said in the statement. Was saddened to learn that a corporate partner has felt it is necessary to divert funding to other hunger, education, and homeless organizations, areas in which the Salvation Army, as the largest social service provider in the world, is already fully committed. They said in a statement, I guess to Chick Fil A. The organization said it believes it is the largest provider of poverty relief to the LGBTQ population. When misinformation is perpetrated without fact, our ability to serve those in need, regardless of sexual orientation, gender, identity, religion, or any other factor, is at risk. When misinformation is perpetrated without fact, our ability to serve those in need, regardless of sexual orientation, gender, religion, at risk. We urge the public to seek truth before rushing to ill-informed judgment, and greatly appreciate those partners, donors, who ensure that anyone who needs our help feels safe and comfortable to come to our doors. Going forward, Chick-fil-A said it will work exclusively with organizations that focus on education, homeless, and hunger. Those are Junior Achievement USA, Covenant House International, and 25,000 to local food banks. I'm still reading. I'm just going over it. Oh, what the heck? Okay, let's start right here. In addition to refraining from financially supporting LGBTQ organizations, Chick-fil-A still lacks policies to ensure a safe workplace for LGBTQ employees. How do they not? Now you want policies to protect LGBTQ people? Does that make sense? Like you're human. Like what you mean? You need policies? You're already human. Like okay. Jim should. Okay, LGB employees should unequivocally speak out against the anti-LGB reputation that their brands represent. That their brand represents, said Drew Anderson. GLADDD. Well, they have ADD. Director of Campaigns and Rapid Response. Well, GLAAD, Glad. You know who Glad is. I'm just making a joke. The Georgia-based company is increasingly expanding into more liberal areas. Restaurants, yeah. Okay, who's the restaurant though? Since it's probably okay, the Chick-fil-A journey, one estimated the company is increasingly opened up in more liberal areas. What does that mean? More liberal areas? Is that a money decision? Like if you're opening up in more liberal areas, so you stop donating to the Salvation Army because liberals support LGBTQ? Are you trying to open up your market more? But to ensure a safe workplace for LBG employees. Like, come on, y'all. That's how you want to put in LBGTQ training videos? When every time somebody get hired, you gotta watch LBG training videos. Okay, Ellie Goulding will perform halftime show at the debate over Salvation Army LGBTQ stance. So Ellie Goulding wasn't going to perform on Thanksgiving for the Cowboys because the Salvation Army is always, on the scene. Why I say on the scene, every time you see that game on Thanksgiving, you see that big red Salvation Army bucket and the players jump in. But the NFL sponsors Salvation Army. That's what I'm trying to say. Or they have a sponsorship with the NFL to have their bucket out there, but have their name shown and be known. So kind of like ad space. They use the field and put in ad space. But she didn't want to perform because the NFL was associated with that. We'll read it. We'll read it. Pop star Ellie Goulding will still perform at the halftime show of the Dallas Cowboys Thanksgiving after threatening to bow out unless Salvation Army made a commitment to the LGBT community. So we're back on the Salvation Army topic from the previous story of Chicken Fil A getting rid of Salvation Army as one of its main donors who they donate to help feed homeless and all those other things they were talking about in that article. So here goes Salvation Army in it with Ellie Goulding, or she in it with them. So she was threatening to bow out unless the Salvation Army made a commitment to the LGBT community. The halftime show will raise awareness for the faith-based nonprofit's famous holiday Red Kettle campaign. The faith-based nonprofit. Yeah, it is faith-based nonprofit. I have reached out to the Salvation Army and said that I would not have no choice but to pull out unless they very quickly make a solid, committed pledge or donation to the LGBT community. Gordon wrote on Instagram after fans voiced concerns about the Salvation Army policies regarding the LGBT community. Gordon later said she has spoken with representatives about Salvation Army and felt comfortable performing. And now I'm working with the Salvation Army in America to, as it is my passion to help the homeless and eventually eradicate it completely. Devil horns, it's all love. Thank you, Salvation Army, for allowing me to be a part of the wonderful things you do. Whatever. We'd like to thank Ellie Goldie and her fans for shedding light on misconceptions and encouraging others to learn the truth about the Salvation Army mission to serve all without discrimination. Read a statement from Salvation Army. We applaud her for taking the time to learn about the services we provide for LGBT. It said, regardless of race and such and so. They're talking about the trans woman who froze to death outside because the Salvation Army refused to let her in the woman quarters. So I don't know if they had a man quarters too, but they refused to let her in the woman quarters. The Salvation Army website says the group is motivated by the love of God to meet humans' needs in His name without discrimination. So really, to sum this up, Ellie Goldman wasn't gonna perform because Salvation Army has the stance that marriage is between a man and a woman. That's what that's all about. It's between a man and a woman. So before Chicken Fil A announced they was gonna pull out, Ellie Goldman got into it with the Salvation Army, and I don't know what kind of commitment they made to the. Well, they say they always support LGBT. I think that means they don't turn them away because they're gay or transgender. So I don't think they said they made a donation. They just had a belief that marriage between a man and a man and a woman is only want to have a loving relationship, a sexual relationship. It's really why they in the news right now. Let me see. No, I don't want it. There we go. It's from the Blaze. The Salvation Army shut down English Reform undergoing threat to pull out the diocese. On Tuesday, she announced she might have the last Tuesday if we consider her performance unless the Salvation Army which has been supporting Cowboys since '97, made a donation or pledge to the community. Supporting the anti-LBGTQ. But he's not saying how the anti. They brought up that one incident when they weren't allowed to do to stay in the women's headquarters, and he froze outside. I'm pretty sure he wasn't the only one outside that froze that day in that same area, and they turned him away from the women quarters. I don't know if they had a man quarters, but still that still would have been a man in there with a penis if he had a penis with a bunch of women still though. Maybe they should put more money towards more sheltering for men and women. She says she's a committed philanthropist. This is old girl Ellie Golden. Let me see. I guess I ain't pledged no money on them, so I'm like, hey, okay. But that's that. I guess what about Chicken Fil A will no longer donate. Oh yeah. That's 153. Okay, let's start on this one. And this is about Ohio mom. Ohio mom. She suffocated three of her kids, three boys. She suffocated them about a year and a half apart on three different occasions. On the third occasion, they finally arrested her, and she finally confessed to murdering the three boys. So each three times she suffocated them with a blanket. This is a crazy story. So a little background. I think she's 21. She married her mom's boyfriend. While her mom boyfriends lived with them. Her mom broke up with the boyfriend. Her daughter was 17. The mom let the boyfriend stay in the house when they broke up, and he started dating the daughter who was 17. So by 18, the daughter was pregnant at 17, was having a baby by 18. I believe it was 18. 18 or 19. So the mom, boyfriend, and the daughter got a place together. I think she's like 21. I forget how old she is. But anyway, they ended up having four kids, three boys and a girl. And maybe 27 or something like that. Ended up having four kids, and she suffocated the three boys because she felt the husband was giving the three boys more attention than he was giving the daughter. So one by one, she suffocated them on three different occasions, in like a year and a half span. So let's get into this. An Ohio mother who killed her three young sons pleaded guilty in exchange for being spared the death penalty, according to multiple reports. Brittany Plinkington, 27, was scheduled to stand trial 2020, but instead she pleaded guilty Tuesday to involuntary manslaughter and murder for suffocating her boys in three separate incidents. Pilkington's 3-month son, Noah, was found dead in August 2015 in the couple's apartment in Ohio, reports the Springfield News-Sun. Months earlier, April 2015, Gavin, her 4-year-old son, was killed in Niall in a separate occasion. The infant died in July 2014. The infant son. So those were three sons, about a year and a half apart, I think. So she confessed to killing the children on the day Noah was found dead. So the day the day she suffocated the last one, that's when the police came and she admitted to it. That's why they saying she confessed. I think she had tried. She told investigators she suffocated her sons because she was jealous of the attention they were getting from her husband, their father, and Plinkington's mother's ex-boyfriend. So it was their father, the kid's father, but also all saying that was her mother's ex-boyfriend that she was married to. So she was also upset the husband paid little attention to their daughter, who was unharmed. Initially, she pleaded not guilty to aggravated murder charges. Police never charged her in the first two deaths of her sons, citing lack of evidence a crime had been committed. Like by the second one, you would have known something up. Like if they both died by suffocation, you gotta question her about that second one. Cause on the first one, she said she rolled over on him. How old was maybe 4? We'll get to it. Maybe it was like 4. But she said she rolled over on him, and in the morning she didn't check till later on to see what was wrong with him. That's how he suffocated. She rolled over on him. That's what. Police never charged her. Under the terms of the plea deal, she was sentenced to 7 years in prison. I don't feel like saying her name, that's why I'm skipping her name. But Pinkington was sentenced to 7 years in prison for the involuntary manslaughter charge and 15 years to life for the 2 murder counts. Logan County Prosecutor Eric Stewart was quoted in reports as saying the deal helped bring justice and closure to this tragic case and protect the community from the defendant. So now they're talking about the mom here, Pilkington, who suffered lead poisoning as a child. And some people associate when you get lead poisoning, it's a start of mental illness. Like you damage your brain from lead poisoning, and I think it can cause psychosis. I believe things like that, psychosis. But they talk about her having psychosis in the news reports before she even did this, because she was abused as a kid. But she suffered lead poisoning and was sexually and physically abused for years, and that's the mom, according to Court Goddardam, one of her attorneys. Sally, she's safer living a better life in jail than on the outside. Goddardam said calling his client irreparably damaged. Let's just say she's nuts. In a statement read by her attorney, Pilkington says she loves and misses all her children and grieves for them every day. Lady. But lead poison causes psychosis, and she was physically and mentally abused, and that caused more mental damage to you. And then 3 kids, The lead poisoning and her being abused as a kid is enough. She was a little out. She is out of it, like insane. Even though she said, cause it's not an excuse to kill your kids, but she mentioned the dad paying more attention to his boys than the girl, than the daughter they had. So. I think they said he was abusive to her too, the husband. I'm not sure. I believe so. Like he denied it though. I think it's another case, but this is common. After the second child's death, don't you think the husband would be a little suspicious? True. Or suspicious of who did it. But she could be telling the story. How the husband. You never know. Maybe the husband had nothing to do with it, but you never know. The only people to blame here are the courts who allowed these children to be put in her possession. Yeah, one that got killed, they had took her. One of the kids that got killed was in foster care before she got him back, and she ended up killing the kid. So there's been instances where CPS was called, and they had to come take the kids. Police never charged her in the first two sons' deaths, citing lack of evidence. In first two, and all three of them were suffocated. That's saying she loves and misses all of them. So she cries to her lawyer that she was abused, yet she was jealous of the attention her children got from their father. The prison sounds perfect for her. Society is better off without her. That's kind of crazy because he gave more attention. And again, they do say she has psychosis. Well, lead poison causes psychosis, but they mention her having psychosis. So, mom sentenced to nearly 4 decades in prison for killing sons because she was jealous of the attention they received. Okay, Brittany Pilkington has suffered from brain damage. She suffered from brain damage after years of abuse at the hands of her mother's former boyfriend, who later became her own husband, according to her defense attorney team. So she did have lead poisoning somehow, and they're saying when she was a teenager, she suffered from abuse from the same guy she ended up marrying. Same guy she ended up marrying after she turned 18 and having 4 kids with. Which is what her mom, ex husband or boyfriend, or boyfriend, former boyfriend. Then she got 37 years. Jealous of the attention that her son was getting from the husband. She opted to take a plea deal in 37 years. So over a 13-month period is when she killed the 3 boys. And one where she said she rolled over on, didn't know. Okay, the first one was July 2014, which was 3 month old. A 3 month old was the first one. Then it was a 4 year old in April 2015. Then it was a 3 month old in August 2015. That's when she confessed to all of them after that. So she admitted to investigators. She felt her boyfriend, she felt her husband didn't give them the same attention, give her daughter the same attention as her sons. The lawyers presented evidence that the mom was brain damaged from lead poisoning, which leads to mental disorders such as psychosis and the thinking way off. They also said she had a personality. She had a 90 IQ, but she had a personality of a 12-year-old. And years of physical and sexual abuse. Or they used that to get her out of the death penalty. Which makes sense. If she had lead poisoning, I don't know how they verified she had lead poisoning. But that will drive a mind, make you crazy. Or do damage to your brain. Then all the other abuse will do more damage. Then you marry the abuser if he was abusing you beforehand. And then have kids. 4 kids with him. So the daughter is in foster care, and the one kid she had left was a female daughter, and she is in foster care. And the reason I bring this up is like mental illness. And well, I was gonna do a video about some findings by this college. Marijuana is linked to psychosis and other mental illness, or has a link to it when you smoke it. Well, you have mental illness. If you, lead poisoning lead to off thinking and psychosis and psychotic breakdowns, plus abuse. So that's what I'm saying would make her do that is she was psychotic. Which of course she's psychotic. If you smother 3 of your kids, you're psychotic. Something's off. So people experiences will make them do horrible things. Like especially something like lead poisoning. That's a drug. It's like marijuana or any psychedelic is a drug, or alcohol is a drug. Lead poisoning is a lot worse, on the mind. Then that with being sexually and physically abused, then you marry your abuser. That's like maybe the abuser has some control over her and over her soul or her spirit. The abuser, which was the mom's ex-boyfriend. It might have been somebody else, but they didn't say it was another guy that abused her. So. But I was linking marijuana to this because they say marijuana can cause psychosis in heavy users. And other things like schizophrenia, or maybe a trigger to psychosis, schizophrenia. Okay, what? Let me see. We'll do Greta Thunberg, the girl who does the climate change speeches, the girl from Europe, somewhere in Europe. So. This is crazy. Now, that's a photo from 121 years ago, and it looked like the girl who does climate speeches, Greta Thunberg. And it says she's a time traveler coming back in time to warn people about global warming. But the thing is, the picture is from 100 years ago, not from 100 years in the future. So she didn't really time travel she's trying to travel to the future. So there's really nothing she can tell us from the past, from 1800 to now. Cause they didn't say the photo was from the future. The photo was from 121 years ago. Like what don't they know now that they didn't know 121 years ago with all the science going on? Like, come on now. Like, really? Really? Okay, let's start it. Greta Thunberg look-alike. So her look-alike, the one who do speeches about climate change, in a 121-year-old photo has sparked a new conspiracy theory about the environmentalist being a time traveler. Like, why would you travel from 1800 to now? Like, really? That's going forward in time. You can't tell us nothing when your technology is crappy back in the 1800s. People on Twitter have started to claim that one of the people in the photo from 1898 that shows three children from Yukon Territory in Canada has a face that's so identical to Thunberg's that it couldn't possibly be anybody else. The girl is said to be Thunberg, also has the same braided hairstyle, and the Swedish teen is known for. And although the timeline certainly doesn't add up, many are saying it's proof that Thunberg is from a different time. She's not from a different time. How can you be a time traveler from the 1800s? And warn people about climate change? That's a silly joke. What's a joke they did in here? So the one on the left in the far corner, on the bottom left, that's supposed to be Greta Thunberg. All right, that's Greta Thunberg. There's people just chilling. That one on the right give me the creeps. I am looking for that one on the right. Give me the creeps. I don't know what that is on the right. It's creepy. That's telling you where the photos came from. It's the University of Washington. Okay. Those in favor of the conspiracy have even shared the logic that Thunberg must have traveled to 2019 to warn everyone about the detriment to the environment that is to come. She's from the past, so that's nothing that is to come. They're talking about her coming from her timeline of the 1800s. That's in the past. Like the science sucked in 1800. So again, 120 years ago, science sucked. You can't. Right, that conspiracy. They're making a joke, really, though. Because it just kind of contradicts yourself if you're saying she's a time traveler coming to the future from the past to tell us something that we don't already know with the technology we have now. Like, really, really, really. The 1800, they were digging holes in the 1800s. And that's proof everyone didn't have slaves. Like, I don't see no slaves around. I think that was after slavery, but still, I don't see no slaves around. When was this? 18? Yeah. 1918. 18. When did Mr. Abraham Lincoln sign them papers? So you got 2019, 19, 1870 something. You're close. You're close, right? No slaves around though. 1880 something. It says they look alike. Yeah, but you know, who knows where that photo really came from, yo? Who knows where that photo really came from? Yeah, some people talking about she immortal or reincarnated. Somehow offered up other explanations, suggesting that she's either immortal or reincarnated. And somebody called her a vampire too. There's just no such thing. Really, there's no such thing as time travel. Who even put that theory out there? That's just people in comic boards being stupid. That was really a joke. That is a joke. That's not a theory. That is not a theory. That is a joke. Talking about she's from 120 years ago, coming to tell us about climate change. Like, really? You got to be 120 years in the future, and the shit got to be shitty. Then you got to come back and warn us. Like, come on. From 1898, that's after the Emancipation Proclamation. Was it? Well, it may still been some people with slaves because they said news didn't travel as fast back then. So if you was still a slave with no computer, no way of getting mail or newspaper, you were still a slave because even your master didn't know it was outlawed. That's how the story goes. Even the masters didn't know it was outlawed until years later. Years later. When they finally got the news. Whenever they got the news, there wasn't no mail. There wasn't no phones. That's fucked up. Let me see what else I want to check out. So we checked out on Chick-fil A, Mr. Chick-fil-A. SIE. I don't know. I'm not saying that. I don't know what that means. So let's go back to Chick-fil-A. I'm gonna close out the video. So it started with Ellie Goulding was gonna pull out the Cowboys game for Thanksgiving football. If Salvation Army didn't make a commitment to LGBTQ organizations. So how that ended is they just made some noise, but Ellie Goulding didn't know that the Salvation Army isn't no anti-LGBTQ. They didn't say Salvation Army made any donations because she was gonna pull out the concert if Salvation Army didn't make a commitment to LGBTQ people. So I was thinking they were gonna have to pay some money, but it doesn't say they paid money. It just says they reminded her that they support people of any gender and whatnot. Cause they say a lady froze to death who was a transgender woman. They didn't let her in with the woman because she was still a man, I guess with a penis or whatnot. But it was a transgender. They didn't let her in, so they said she froze to death. I'm like, well, a lot of people must have froze to death that night. But so she was, I guess, upset about that. Now she gonna do the halftime show for the Cowboys Thanksgiving game because she's not upset no more. But Salvation Army openly believes, and push in their mission statement, they believe in marriage between a man and a woman, a relationship between a man and a woman, and they are really Bible based. So that's really why Elden Golden said she wasn't gonna perform for them in Cowboys Stadium. That's really why, because their stance on the Bible, because they believe in the Bible. That's really why she said something. Because she ended up, she's gonna play now. She's gonna sing on Thanksgiving. And they didn't give no money or nothing. They didn't commit to no organizations. All they told her was, we don't discriminate, offering help to somebody that's LGBTQ. Like she wasted that time, but that was intact. Then you got Chick-fil-A backing out of Salvation Army and another Christian athletic group. So if we go back to the beginning of the video, I know I read something about one of the organizations that Chick-fil-A no longer support, they made a statement to Chick-fil-A. And the statement really just reminded people of their beliefs, which is marriage between a man and a woman, this and that. And they backed out the Salvation Army of all places, because they say Salvation Army said there was the top charitable organization doing for the homeless and whatnot, and they do not discriminate against gays and whatnot. Even though they believe everything between a man and a woman and a holy covenant, they still don't turn away somebody who's gay and transgender. Now with that incident, maybe they didn't want to group the dude who was a transgender with the women and keep the women safe. However that incident goes, you know. I haven't looked into Salvation Army has man shelters they could have sent the transgender man to or transgender woman to. I don't know if they have man shelters, Salvation Army. But now she's going to play. Now Chick-fil-A is not supporting Salvation Army. And did I read something else about Salvation Army? Okay, so the request came after Golden's social media post on Instagram Tuesday elicited backlash from fans. So she got backlash from her fans when she posted a photo of her helping out Salvation Army. So her fans got on her because they said, well, Salvation Army believe marriage between a man and a woman, and love and sex is between a man and a woman. So her fans got on her. I guess to save face, she made that statement to Salvation Army. And Salvation Army made their statement back. Now she's going to perform. That's what that paragraph say, that small paragraph. Because she posted an image of herself working out with the Salvation Army, which instigated accusations that she's trans, that she's phobia. She has a phobia against trans and LGBTQ. Something like that, which instigated accusations of trans and LGBTQ for the Christian Travel Organization. That's really how I read into that, because they got on her ass. Her fans got on her ass, like, you really working for them? And they trans this and trans that. It's not because some lady got stuck out in the cold, a trans woman. It's because of their belief in the Bible. That's basically what I'm saying. Well, she getting paid, so I know you ain't gonna back out, honey, sweet honey. And then they're gonna pay you a couple million just to perform, and you're gonna back out. Like, you lose money. I'm like, really? You gonna back out for real? I forgot about that aspect. Are you stand to make a couple million from that? I don't listen to your songs no more, but you stand to make a couple million, and just attacking Salvation Army like that. Just for their belief system, then you disguise it as they're anti this because of their belief system. Just no Christians really ain't going nowhere, so yeah. I think I don't know if this Ellie Goulding thing has something to do with Chick-fil-A backing out the Salvation Army, doing deals with Salvation Army and the other Christian school. Because this is how I connect the Chick-fil-A and Salvation Army story. Because I heard about this before that story came out. Was Elder Goulding was petitioning in the Salvation Army that she would pull out or performing at the Cowboys game if they did not make a commitment to the gay lesbian community. Which their commitment ended up being them saying they don't turn away people who's gay, which they don't. But if you got a man trying to go into a room with a bunch of women, that's, even though he dressed as a woman, that's like, no, no. Like, they did that for safety reasons. If there was any legitimacy to that story, they did it for safety reasons. Cause they could direct him towards a man's shelter or something else. But even then, it still wouldn't change their stance on what they believe. But so yeah, connection between cause it makes Chick-fil-A have a bad look, I guess. Cause Chick-fil-A say they move into more liberal areas. I don't know what liberals believe, but if they meant more liberal areas by more gay areas or more areas that's for LGBTQ rights, and they trying to expand their horizon on their books and get more money from that side of the community. They trying to jump on a bandwagon to make more money, so they jumping on the LGBTQ bandwagon by getting rid of Salvation Army. So yeah, that's two attacks on Salvation Army about what they believe. Two attacks. Ellie Golden, saying she want to back out. Second attack, Chick-fil-A not donating to them anymore, which has always been one of the big contributors to Salvation Army and Chick-fil-A. So that's the connection. It's an attack on Christianity and an attack on beliefs. That's what's all this in the news for. Well, go check out Dread at Question Everything on YouTube. So it's question space everything on YouTube. You'll see him. He have a true tube symbol. Or true tube, TRUTUBE. I'm in this live here. And I would say just keep strong, Christians. You see the attack on the beliefs and on common sense and on common dignity. You see it. Keep your mind straight, because you don't want to be no mother who murdered their kids. She had lead poisoning. She went through a lot of traumatic events as a kid, sexual abuse and physical abuse. Mr. Plinkton, Mrs. Plinkington. So keep your mind straight, even if you've been through abuse. Just pray. If you seek counseling, pray. And I know things will get better and things are better. This is just, this whole Salvation Army, Chick-fil-A, Ellie Golden, just in the news to attack what's right and what's true, which is the word of God. So I'm in this live here. This has been Awkward Occurrence or Awkward Entertainment, and I'll see you in the next video.